Welcome to C-Suite Elevated, the podcast in which we help executives in the organizations they lead rise to meet their highest potential. I am your host, Christy Angel, Managing Partner of Broadview Talent Partners. Today I am excited to bring to you two executives and leaders of nonprofits and other organizations, Gordon and Vicki Bowen Hewes. Today we're going to talk about how we help organizational leaders show up as their very best selves. Vicki and Joi are both executive coaches, but they do other work, facilitating executive transitions, refreshing brands, leading expansion, and amplifying board engagement for nonprofit organizations. And I'm excited to hear from them as to learn more about how they support leaders in every step of their purpose-driven journey. Welcome, Vicki and Joi.
Thank you. We're happy to be here.
Well, I'm happy to have you here. Today, we are going to talk about the value of executive coaching, the myth, the truths, and all of the things in between that, right? I think executive coaching, at times, people use that word or use those words to mean so many things, right? And so let's just start with the basics. Executive coaching. First, tell us about Gordon Hewes and the work that you do, and then talk about executive coaching and how you define it.
Vicki, do you want to start?
Sure, absolutely. Well, first, again, Christy, thank you for having us, and thank you for all that you do for organizations and communities. It makes a huge difference. I think that what I love about the three of us being together is that we're people rooted in people, right? And none of us feel as if we have all the answers, but we want to be able to use what we've learned to help other people be successful, right? And to bring each other along. So at Gordon Hewes, I'm honored to have the absolute pleasure of being a business partner with my long-term colleague, Joi Gordon. And what we really lean into is being the people that we needed when we were building missions and movements in the nonprofit world. Really finding that whether it's in a consulting function or in a coaching function, talking real, getting to the root of things with authenticity, and then creating things that are actionable, that feel right with people, that actually help the organization, the people, and the mission thrive. So we take a different lens than a lot of other consultants might, and that sometimes we have the hard conversation that reflect back that things that people haven't heard before. And we want to be able to have that type of an authentic engagement because we needed that. We always need that so that we're moving forward and with strength.
Do you think, does executive coaching look different for nonprofit leaders or in nonprofit organizations?
You know,
mission-minded organizations. Maybe I should say that.
Absolutely. Well, it shouldn't look different, but it can look different. And, you know, with nonprofit leaders, what I think is most helpful when trying to find the right coach is to find someone who has very much the same kind of skill set and abilities and strengths. And oftentimes that comes from being very nimble and being a nonprofit executive, having entrepreneur skills. And so that can be very different in the nonprofit sector than in a corporate coaching environment. And so that's what makes nonprofit leaders who go into coaching very successful with their clients, because they've experienced similar pains, growing pains, moving an organization from small to large, and they can relate. And so the teachings are different that go through coaching.
I would also say that the stakes are higher than ever for nonprofits right now, right? And the resources are more thin. So how can we one of our really important calls to action is, how can we help those leaders lean into confidence when they're really trying to navigate a lot of different complexities, and also helping boards understand that the more confident their leader is, the more resources their organization will build, both in human capital and teams feeling really great about the work that they're doing, as
Mhm.
well as the impact that the organization is making in the community, and the whole coalescing of leadership, the board and the exec, right?
I love that conversation. I love what you said about helping the board understand. The more confident the leader, the more resources, um, the more confident the leader is internally and externally.
Yes.
Certainly adds value when organizations are stressed and going through both internal and external stresses, whether it's for resources or something like a pandemic, even that we all,
Right.
experienced, and we hope we never experience again. When is the right time for a nonprofit leader to hire an executive coach? We often think in the executive search world, add coaching at the beginning of the engagement, right? But I know sometimes that's not possible. We have conversations with nonprofit board members who they have a long tenured leader, but now they think the leader needs executive coaching, or something goes wrong and they think, I want this leader to have executive coaching. Maybe there is no wrong time, but if you had your crystal ball and you could define it the way that or design it the way that you want to design it, when would be the perfect time?
Christy, I'd say just as you've described, I think your approach at Broadview Talent Partners is right. When a leader comes on board and is onboarded, it really should be part of the package. That's an investment in talent, right? And so, you would just imagine that in any new environment, there are going to be hiccups and bumps along the road. And if you have an assigned coach working alongside of you, you'll have less of those experiences, but certainly a sounding board to work through those experiences with. Oftentimes, when boards mention getting an executive coaching, it feels punitive. It feels as though there's some weakness within the organization. And at no time should anyone feel that way. Executive coaching is part of professional development. And so it really is just a tool in your arsenal to make you stronger, more confident, more aligned, and really should just be thought of as you give professional development to any of your employees. It is your personal professional development as an executive to have a coach.
Yeah, great. It's so good to hear you say that. I'm glad we're getting it right most of the time. And when we make those recommendations, as you can imagine, executive search experience is not a cheap date, as someone
No.
once said, right? And so now they've spent that money, they've got an offer on the table, and now here we come with and you should think about adding executive coaching. If the organization is resource stressed or constrained, do you have any ideas or thoughts on how on affordability, or how a nonprofit organization can afford executive coaching? You mentioned it's an investment.
So I would say that there are many times, and we have this conversation frequently. There are many times that foundations or other funders, specifically those top stakeholders, really want to see leadership succeed. So creating an opportunity to fund the coaching. If you think about athletics, the best athletes have the best coaches, the best. They are not getting a coach because they're underperformers. They are getting coaches because they are exceptional performers. And having that confidential sounding board, that accountability partner, the things that an athlete talks to their coach about, those are an investment in the team. They're an investment in how the culture of the organization. And so often talking with funders about, we want to make an investment in our team. We want to make an investment in how we're going to increase our impact. Reframing it from a place of scarcity to a place of, we really want to be the strongest that we can be. We have great leadership and we want to support them.
Ultimately,
I love that analogy.
Ultimately, I do too. Ultimately, the value of coaching should surpass the cost. And so, if done well, with the right coach and really your partner, it will way surpass the cost associated to coaching.
Even Tom Brady had an extra coach.
Serena
Tom
Williams.
Brady had a quarterback specialist, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure if LeBron had well, I'm sure he did. He's, I could see him making it. I can see him making significant investments in his, shooting or free throw shooting or whatever. So I love me, I love my sports. So I love that sports analogy.
But Christy, boards have a fiduciary duty to the organization. And to me, providing their most executive leader talent with the tools she or he needs to succeed is part of that fiduciary duty.
Yes.
And so onboarding them and making it part of the package makes it actually a sweeter package when this executive is looking at multiple options, knowing that they are truly investing in that executive and providing him or her with a tool that they believe is going to catapult and give her directionally what she or he needs to grow is an exceptional gift that you can give an executive.
We've had executives, it has been a difference maker, for salary, benefits, some of those packages, thinking about bonuses and such. But we've had executives say, oh my gosh, they're putting executive coaching into my package. Like, one, they are so grateful that the board is thinking of them and feels as if the board is investing in them for the long term. It really makes the difference in getting them to kind of sign that offer letter. I think it creates a better relationship going into the process, or going into, the engagement, so to speak, with the board chair, search committee, everything. It really, I think it really makes for what I like to say, a nice, smooth landing as we finish out that search.
Absolutely.
In your opinion, with all the work that you all do and have done, what are the unique challenges that nonprofit executives, so we hear about executive coaching. I mean, I remember hearing about executive coaching in the for-profit world many, many years ago, early in my career. And I remember I was working in the public sector and someone said, you should get an executive, a coach, as I navigated from one of many in a policy office to a leader in the executive office. And I thought, well, where am I going to find this person, right? Bit of a unicorn who has been in the, worked for a mayor and, this, that, and other thing. I found the person. I did find the person. And that was great. And then when I navigated to the private sector, that person was like, I'm probably no longer the right coach. I can be, but maybe you should think about a different coach. And that was helpful. And then I even had a different experience when I led a nonprofit. So share some of the challenges and unique challenges that nonprofit executives face. You've mentioned a few. We've talked about resource, scarcity and things, but that coaching can help address.
Vicki?
I would say a lot of it has to do with isolation and vision fatigue, right? Because you as the nonprofit leader, you are the light of the organization, right? You are driving the organization, and nonprofit leaders are navigating so many things and have been for a number of years, even before the pandemic, and then the pandemic amplified those things. Now there are a full new set of challenges, barriers that nonprofit leaders are navigating through. Other part is over functioning, right? the ability to take off the superhero cape for a minute and just say, I need to take care of me for a minute. I need to download all of the different things that I want to be able to do, determine what my best path forward is, and be in partnership with my board to ensure that we're aligned. So a lot of times boards have one vision of what they think should happen, and then the leader is navigating through the day-to-day. So the biggest difference, I would say, and Joy, I would love to hear your perspective. The biggest thing is the board leader dynamic, and making sure that that's healthy, and making sure that the leader does not feel as isolated, and that they can still be that visionary leader while also collaborating in a really healthy way with the board.
I agree. I absolutely agree. I would also say, there's definitely the executive coaching for the top tier executive within a nonprofit, but there is the need also for coaching for the transition when you move board members, right? So you get a new chair on the board. It's a fine time to also help onboard the new chair with the leadership skills she or he deserve as well. Really, you can never underestimate the power of what nonprofit leaders need. Vicki and I have been talking about creating a cohort, if you will, of CEOs, executive directors at various levels within the nonprofit sphere. It can be very isolating. It could feel very alone. You have to think about who you talk to on the team when issues are occurring. If you talk to your board member about when is the right time to advance a conversation to the board without creating that dynamic. And so you learn best from peer groups. And so, yes, coaching is necessary, but beyond the coaching, there really could be some peer development work done through cohorts of executives. And we're looking to build that platform for C-suite executives in the nonprofit space so that they have a place in a group of people similarly situated, similar like budgets, similar like tenure, that they could feel like you can learn from along the way.
Okay, when you do that, just let me know, because I can
Well,
for the newbies, the group of
yes,
newbies. I mean,
yeah,
oh yes, I would
yeah.
love to be able to send, some of our place candidates to your way for that, because I do think I understand the value of that kind of peer-to-peer relationship, in addition to the one-to-one executive coaching. The peer-to-peer relationship offers something slightly different, and as you said, it's those people that you're all going through it, maybe not at the same time, but likely you will go through it, and to help one another, it builds relationships beyond that particular role, but also just you have that buddy
Yes.
to work with. Vicki, I think you and I both experienced something similar to that.
Yes. And what Joy and I have found in working with clients across the nation is building a virtual space for that.
Right.
That helps. So you and we have seen just real diverse eye openers for people who are used to working in specific regions. And then when they see another region, or they see another perspective from another region, they say, oh, you know what, we'd love to know more about how you're navigating hunger, how you're navigating, different reproductive freedom, those kinds of things. The crossover is really powerful, and they're a great place to have that, to surface those issues, and kind of have a test kitchen kind of outreach, and then to activate those detailed ideas then with a coach, really helping to activate how that looks through your daily work.
Wow, I'm looking forward to this. When's the launch?
Soon to come.
Soon to come. Okay. Okay, all of you listening to the podcast, you've heard it. It's soon to come. So we will check back in with Gordon Hewes to learn more about what does it have a name yet? You just call it kind of peer advisory,
Our peer advisory group, yes.
peer advisory group. Okay, great. Well, that is that's going to be phenomenal, and I can't wait to share that news with other leaders in not just our community, but certainly, of course, we do searches all over the country. So that could be great, especially if you're going through something. I can imagine a leader who may say, you know, I don't want to be in a peer group with someone in my city.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
That's it.
That's right.
That's the
right.
plus.
All the secrets revealed, even though, you know, we it's supposed to be
Yeah.
safe space and confidential.
Yeah.
You just the level of comfort that someone can probably attain.
And then the really the beyond boundaries of zip code, right? I'm going to visit Las Vegas in 2
Right.
weeks, and oh my gosh, I'll check in with how some of my peer cohorts are doing, right? I mean,
Right.
it's that national connectivity.
How does so I want to back up just a little bit. We were talking about coaching for the nonprofit leader and the value add to the leader. We talked a little bit about the board. What about the contribution to the organization? And that's part one. Part two is, when does a nonprofit leader and how does a nonprofit leader introduce coaching to his or her maybe direct reports or internally to their organization?
Yeah, when you can bring in coaching into an organization, it's a real opportunity to have some collaborative alignment with your team. And it's the gift that keeps on giving. And so, if affordable, doing some group dynamic coaching would be great to really bring the team all together, especially when there's transition, especially when there's long-term employees that have been there, you're a new executive that onboards. It really helps strengthen and create a familiar relationship between each other. And so truly could be an investment if you put the money in the right place for your team. And it really shows up as you, the leader, are investing in this group of people and really want to see this work, right? You don't want people to leave because the new leader came and there's no room for them. And so it really kind of sets a tone that could be really helpful within an organization. So again, it really brings alignment, it provides personalized support, and really helps an organization thrive. So not only are you thriving, the entire organization begins to thrive together. And that's where that group coaching can take place.
And then we've also seen really wonderful coming together, alignment and powerful strength through succession, when a lot of leaders, and when I say leaders, not solely the CEO or the executive director, but the leadership team, the program directors, their ability to have coaching through succession is very helpful, because they know then they are seen and they are valued. It's not solely about C-suite leadership, making sure that they have the support that they need. And whether that is helping the board have a board buddy program, like coaching the board through a board buddy program so that they're involved with the organization. There are lots of ways that the team can feel as if and know that they're a really valuable part of the organization, without, again, coaching feeling as if it's punitive. I know that when a lot of times when team members have their annual review, if organizations can't necessarily, they can afford to add coaching into that annual review in a positive way, we would love for you to be able to access this support so that you can grow into this potential promotion that's on the horizon. Leaning into it more as a growth opportunity.
Yeah, I love how you frame that, Vicki. Yeah, I love how you framed it. It's all how you frame something, right? So if part of your annual review, this now is a growth opportunity because we see you. We believe in you and we are investing in your talent, it no longer feels threatening, right? It no longer feels like a chore. One more thing you have me doing. I'm already stretched, and now you have me meeting with a coach once or twice a month. And
Right.
so it's all in how you perceive it, is how you're going to receive it. And so that's really, really smart, I think, to even at the annual 1 year review, if you can't do it up front when the person's hired, really build it in. It no longer will feel like excess money
Something's wrong.
being
Right.
spent
Right.
or something wrong,
Right.
because that's not how you want to set it up.
That's right.
It feels like you're setting someone up to fail if they feel
Mm-hmm.
like it's because you're watching me. It's really, I
Mm-hmm.
see you, not I'm watching
Mm-hmm.
you, but I see
And
you and I
yeah,
want to
I
see
love
you
that,
grow.
Joy. That's
Hmm.
beautiful. I'm not watching, I see
I'm
you.
not
I love
watching you. I see you. I love that.
Hmm.
Do you have a specific, I don't know, a story, an example of when coaching made a difference in a nonprofit leader's work or the organization or within a board?
We have
One that you
many.
can share with no names.
Right. We have many. We have many. I would say most recently we are working with a leader who is navigating a challenging campaign,
Hmm.
a fundraising campaign,
Mhm.
and having them feel empowered and have agency over what they can manage and working with the board on those clear strategic priorities, right?
Mhm.
And it's a lot of times it's trust and release
Hmm.
and always alignment, right? So many times leaders get siloed. If I don't get all of these things done, I'm a failure, or this is going to be perceived as I haven't hit the mark. The more that leaders feel empowered and also having agency to have transparent conversations with their board on how they can structurally support in this specific example, a fundraising campaign, right?
Mhm.
Because we all
Mhm.
know what the landscape is right now.
Mhm.
So that's a, an example of somebody having the tools. A lot of times, if you're in the work of the work all the time, you just don't have the language to be
Hmm.
able to, you're thinking about all the time, well, they're going to say this and this person's going to
Yes.
say that, right? But when you're working with somebody externally that's able to take away those personality dynamics and just talk through the professional approach, it makes it so much easier.
And at Gordon Hewes, not only do you get a coach, but you get two coaches, right? So
Yes.
Vicki and I come as a package. And I think that's really helpful because there's areas and expertise that are really my sweet spot, and there are those that are Vicki's. And sometimes, mostly we coach as a group, but oftentimes we also have silo coaching experiences with our clients. And so they just feel like they get more bang for their buck, having two coaches, not just one. Real emphasis on growth and development, maybe from me, and more centralized focus on board development and engagement and staffing from Vicki. It really helps the
Mhm.
leader to have people who really see things through two lenses, and approaching it from a real vast kind of perspective, as opposed to just one person's thoughts about how to go directionally forward. So we enjoy it. And, as much as we're teaching, we're learning,
Yes.
and we're taking it in so that we can help someone else. Vicki said at the very beginning, we really want to be the person that we needed when we were in the nonprofit world.
Mhm.
We knew what we needed, but oftentimes we couldn't find it through either coaching or through mentoring, or through some sort of leadership development course. And so we're really focused on what we know would be helpful to nonprofit leaders and are
Mhm.
executing on that.
Mhm. Mhm. Joy, you just said something. You mentioned you needed, coaching. You did not find, you weren't able to find, let me say that, what you needed through coaching or mentoring. Will you just define the difference between coaching and mentoring? Because
Yeah, so there,
oftentimes I feel like people are saying, I want you to mentor me. to mentor me, and then I'm like, I think this person needs a coach.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. A coach really should have like very specific, relevant technical skills, industry specific experience, and be focused on really elevating that particular client in that particular space.
Mhm.
Mentoring much broader, like I feel like as women, we mentor women all the time.
All the
Like
time.
that's what we do. That's our suit of armor, is that we walk into a space and we say, call me if you need
Right.
help. And it's really very, and then listen, if you can get a coach, a mentor, and maybe even a therapist, is a trifold win-win-win right there.
Right.
Because all are different, but sometimes all are necessary.
That's right.
And so it's very different. It should be treated differently. A mentor is like been there, done that, and I can tell you how I fixed the problem. That's the
Mhm.
mentor. But the other one is really about technical skills and expertise and being very focused and very niche on what you need.
Mhm.
So that's the difference, if you will.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
would say
Okay.
just to expand on Joy's point, it's a lot of listening, right?
Mhm.
Mentoring is kind of more a lot of knowledge sharing. The
Yes.
coaching, like really listening, because we are listening not to respond, we're listening to really understand. So when we listen to understand what someone is solving for, it's very different than tell me how you, right?
Right, right,
It's
Right. Yeah. With a mentor, it's the have you ever dealt with,
right.
and
yes,
how did you?
yes,
Yep.
Yeah. Right.
And
yes,
just,
Right.
give me the answer, and
yes,
bring empathy to the table in the
Yes.
discussion so that I can get a resolve out of it. It
Right.
definitely is different. But of course, your coach becomes a mentor to you. And certainly after
Mhm.
the paid relationship expires, that's kind of how the coach shows up in your life going forward.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Mhm. Okay. Okay. So you mentioned the paid relationship expiring. Do you put, I mean, how long do you typically work with your coaching clients?
I think
For
it
us,
depends.
it
Yeah.
does. It does depend. It
Okay,
depends on
right,
the
yeah.
size of the organization, the needs of the organization, obviously the budget of the organization.
Mhm.
But I think, for me, those paid coaching clients that I've had have always been at a minimum of 6 months. It's really
Mhm.
hard to be able to measure success in less time than that.
Okay.
And so if you can invest in a 6 month mentoring relationship, it pays some dividends.
Mhm.
Shorter than that, it's like you can align it with like your first 90 days on the job, but that's very tactical, right? It's
Mhm.
very do this, do that, talk to this stakeholder, have these meetings, and we can check boxes for you, but I don't know if that really fully sets you up for success. So there is the
Mhm.
first 90 days, the listening
Mhm.
tour, if you
Yes.
will.
Yes.
But then beyond the first 90 days, there needs to be an action plan. That's when some strategy work happens.
Mhm.
And really, if you have a great coach, she or he could help you design that work as well. May not, work alongside you and do it unless you wanted them to, but can help design it for you.
Mhm. 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 Have you ever had uh, the occasion where a board says, we want you to coach our executive leader, and they are selecting you for that leader? Have you ever had that occasion to occur? And how do you respond to that?
So
Hmm.
I have had that happen, and in our experience, we always want to feel the leader to feel as if the leader's in the driver's seat, right? So we will always say thank you, and we would love to meet with the leader. We would love
Hmm.
to, we want to hear what your expectations are and where you feel some of the opportunities are, and then meet with the leader and just be human.
Mhm.
Right? Just be
But
really
you really should give a leader an opportunity to make the ultimate decision on this. This is
yeah.
not something that you bring someone in. There feels there's then it doesn't feel like you're building it around trust. And so, we certainly have been called in to do executive coaching and told that the leader is going to meet with us along with another potential coach. And it's for us to be able to create a connection, chemistry with the person, because it's got to be, you've got to walk into this feeling like I want to learn from this person. I feel confident that my confidentiality will be honored. You won't feel that if you feel like you had somebody thrust upon you.
Yes.
Like what's going on here? So we want the leader to ultimately choose us, and not be a directive of a board.
Right. Fit is very important.
Absolutely.
Right.
Fit is very
It's
important.
chemistry and beyond chemistry, having that strategic partner, right? We see ourselves as a strategic partner with both the executive and the board, and understanding that there are goals and benchmarks, but that we're in partnership. But when we're working with a leader, that leader is in the driver's seat. We never want anybody to feel as if we are taking information in and kind of feeding something to them. We really want to hear what they're navigating through, because that's where you're able to get to the root of what's happening.
Absolutely. So tell us more about Gordon Hewes. So you've talked about your executive coaching work. And I know and we heard a little bit about maybe what's coming with peer advisory, but what are the other services that you provide?
Well, we launched officially Joi in January 2024, and our first year was beyond what we could have ever anticipated. We worked with people across the country as well as in the Dominican Republic. We have an opportunity to help people build their dreams, take what they had in their heart as something that they really wanted to achieve, and help them actualize that in social enterprise and in nonprofit. From the nonprofit perspective, helping an organization that is looking to create affiliates either geographically or across the nation. My dear business partner, Joi Gordon, built an organization from the basement of a church to a worldwide powerhouse.
Yes.
So she spoke earlier about our different skill sets, and in our first year, we had the opportunity to really lean into helping nonprofits grow from either a regional perspective or a national perspective, and helping social enterprises achieve what they weren't sure that they would ever be able to put out into the world. So what our current work right now is around a lot of fundraising and building capacity, because that's such an important part of the atmosphere right now. And what we love to talk with people about when they reach out and say that it's about fundraising, it's really about people, right? It's about how you're building the organization, who can help come alongside you, because the impact that nonprofit leaders are making goes on not just today or tomorrow, but it's a legacy of impact throughout communities.
Yes, absolutely. And you do some strategic planning for boards, correct?
We do
a
we
little
do
bit of
that for organizations and do board development. We're helping another organization that kind of grew very quickly with a startup board, really now moved their board into more of a governance board structure. Taking a look at their bylaws and looking at their meeting plan and looking at subcommittees and some structure around the board, no longer a board of friends, but really connectors in the community and helping to determine what that looks like for a particular organization. A lot of organizations have grown very quickly because they've gotten government funding. We know that that is shifting for nonprofits. So being a lot more creative and diversifying funding streams, using campaigns as ways to raise money, not just the charity gala kind of concept. And so really opening up opportunities and ideas and dialogue with executives. We're kind of like, I call Vicki my unicorn. She can really do a little bit of everything. Really well. And so together we have really had our, we say we started last year, but we really started about 15 years ago when we were working together. And we kept in the back of our mind saying, one day we should figure out how to work together. And lo and behold, the opportunity showed up for us and we decided to create our own firm. But we really do complement each other really well. We really like each other. And I think that's even important for colleagues. Like, I dare to say we love each other, but we like each other really, really well. And we like working with each other. And so that energy comes across when we work with clients. Because as much as we are investing in them, we're investing each other as well.
And we love to solve problems. I mean, we love to solve problems, A lot of times people will say, I don't know, we have this problem. It's, we love to solve problems.
Yeah, we do the call after the call. In many organizations, that's not such a nice thing. But after we get off a call with a client, we continue the conversation until we can solve the problem.
Yeah, and I know that feeling. My business partner and I, we do that. We're like, I think we can do this. I think we can figure this out. Right?
Exactly. And then it's a text. You want to jump back on a call? Because we think we figured out exactly what directionally.
I'm giving this some thought, and I
absolutely.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And Tracy and I, we really like one another. We were like brother and sister. Sometimes I tease him probably, too much, but he's used to it. I'm like, well, I'm the older sister by 3 days. So, Well, before we wrap up here, is there anything that we didn't cover? Is there any advice that you'd like to give our listening audience today about the value of executive coaching?
I'll piggyback on what Joi shared earlier about boards really investing on the onboarding piece of it. I would also say succession piece of it, that there is such value to be gained from this. And then from a leadership perspective, a lot of times people will say, well, I don't know if I'm ready. I'm not sure if this is the right time. If someone's open, if they want to grow, there's no quote unquote right time. Like Joi will say, there's not a right time for certain things, but there is always the time for you to be investing in yourself. So you making space for your own growth and leadership is always a positive investment, and finding a coach that you really vibe with, but that holds you accountable is everything, right? You don't just want to vibe with somebody. You just don't want somebody who's going to be like, oh yeah, you're great.
Right.
You got it. You want to have somebody that like puts the mirror back and says, well, let's revisit. How do you really feel about this? These are some of the things that you shared. Again, that deep listening and reflection.
Yeah. And that's it right there. It's like, be prepared to engage in self-reflection. That's what this is, right?
Yes.
And be involved in active participation. Worst thing that can happen is to get an assigned coach and you're out of time. And so you're not showing up. And you're not getting 100% out of the experience. So having clear goals from the beginning, holding yourself accountable for doing the work. It's work. And then ultimately there should be this, kind of rainbow at the end where a lot of aha moments happen for you, and you've realized that, the good was within. So
Yes.
it's right there, and
Yeah.
so it's really about peeling back the onion and seeing, the good work that's right there, ready to come out. It's fun work for us. It really is fun work for us. And we really, we're in a world now where I think the nonprofit community is going to be relied on even greater.
Yes.
And that in some cases, things that government did, they will not do. And so, as always, the profit community comes in to save the day. And so
Yes.
we've got work to do, people. The world relies upon us to get the
Yes.
work done, especially here in America. We have a lot of work to do. And so to
Yeah.
have leadership lead is exactly what we want to see right now.
Quick question. Do you offer packages, coaching experiences for individuals who just want to hire you as a coach? And is that a different price point, or how do you work through that?
As we don't as a firm.
Okay.
I would say but we do have nonprofit leaders will reach out, and we would like to scope that as part of their organization, right? Investing in them. But Joy, your experience might be different.
No, I think you're right. But I mean, Vicki always gives the, we care about you discount.
You are a business.
Vicki always somehow wraps that into the final proposal. And so I think that definitely helps for people who want to personally take it on, because they see it as kind of them getting to the next rung in the ladder. But like, listen, there's no job too big or too small for us. So just looking to work with people who are ready to do the work is really what we want to do.
And to kind of flip it onto you, Christy, what have you seen as the value of executive coaching in the work that you do?
Wow. Well, I would say, first of all, the leaders, we check in with our leaders, our place candidates, 90 days, 60 to 90 days in, sometimes 60 days, they're like, too soon, don't talk to me yet. But, somewhere in that first, if you think about quarters, 4 quarters, right? And, as we are touching base with the leaders, those that have coaches, I see a bit of kind of more of an ease to navigating the curveballs, the challenges that, leadership in a new organization has presented, because it happens. It just happens. And it's through no fault of the board or anyone else. They're just things that happen, whether they are, in the, kind of external kind of atmosphere and environment, or something that you find out kind of through your exploration and learning about the organization. And so I find kind of in that first quarter, those leaders that have that coach really are thriving and feel that they have that partner that they can work with and talk through, decisions. It feels less frenetic and frantic, if you will.
Sure.
They're still stressed because it's still, a very new role and they are learning so much, but I feel like they feel lighter, like they don't have as much stress because they are able to lean on and work with someone. And then when you get to that about 6-month mark, right, if they're working with a coach, they start sharing their plans. Here's what we're getting ready to lay out. Here's what we're getting ready to do. Here's where we are as an organization. And again, it's because they've had that thought partner and someone to work with. I know that it's not just that, but certainly those that have that feel more settled and certain about the direction they are headed with their organization. And when we get to about year 1, we have something in our position profiles that says first year measures of success. And usually they're pretty spot on. I mean, we always tell the leaders, you may not get to all of these things, but this is a point of view from the board and the search committee and the things that they think need to be need some attention in that first year.
Mhm.
Some started, maybe some finished, etc. And when there's a coach and you can lay that down with the coach in addition to kind of what you're experiencing just in real time, we find those leaders are well positioned for their second year in the organization and feel they feel much more confident about the direction they're going in. And these are just kind of our anecdotal stories. But the first question I ask in that first touch base is, have you identified your coach?
Yes.
That's my first question. After the pleasantries, right? Have you identified your coach? Because I'm looking at the offer, and so I know that it's in there, and because more and more more times now than not, we are putting it in there, and rarely do we get pushback from a search committee or a board.
Right.
Sometimes they want to know, well, why do you suggest that? As if we think there's something wrong, and we say, no, it's not that. It's that for the reasons we've already talked about today. And so, and I also say, if not coaching, maybe some access to peer advisory, but give them a tool.
Yes.
And a bit of a partner. So it is found. That's why I wanted to have this conversation today, because I can see the value in real time with our placed candidates. And with the candidates, we've had a couple of experiences where this wasn't part of the offer. And we get a call from a board member who says, this isn't happening. This isn't happening. People are leaving. Blah. You feel that. So you feel the frenzy, right? You feel it and you're like, whoa, what's happening? Something gonna, and of course I always want to hear from the leader as well. So I have both sides of the story. And then, we'll have a board member say, well, they need coaching. And we'll, inquire, I want to be curious, like, well, why do you think that? And sure, maybe this person does need that, but why now is the board saying that this person needs coaching? Because we do not want it to feel punitive. And as that last ditch, oh, we're going to lose the leader, or this relationship isn't going to last, therefore we think they need a coach. It's like, that doesn't feel good. And it's interesting, but a couple of times when this has happened, I've talked to the leaders, and the leader says, I have a coach.
Oh, interesting.
So then, so to the point, I feel as if you were with me sitting on my shoulder maybe 6 or 8 months ago when this happened. I said, oh, the board needs a coach.
Right. Absolutely.
Now, we defined it in a different way, but that is what was necessary.
Right. Absolutely.
The board needed some development.
Absolutely.
And some elevation, if you will, and change and transformation. So the leader was all set up, had brought a coach into the relationship, moved to a new city, et cetera, et cetera. And so we were like, oh, okay. And so now things are kind of, on the right track, but I was like, we're getting on the track. We're getting off the track.
Absolutely.
I was afraid
falling off the rails.
Going off the rails, right? Going off the rails. And so, it's those experiences. I never want to, I said to Tracy, I don't want to experience that again. And, that is really when we said, we really should push a little harder to have executive coaching as a part of the offer. Up front.
It just feels better. Sure.
It does feel better. It really
and I
does.
think that sometimes, specifically, some leadership is looking for some type of formulaic approach. And although there can be structure, every person is different. Every situation is different. So you can't prescribe. It's not a one size fits all.
Right.
Yes. You're right.
Understanding there's framework, but then it's all about what's best for the people who are involved.
And there's so many different, different scenarios, right? Internal candidates that become the leader that need, different tools, and, people that come in from the outside, and then people who come from different cities and in, from the outside, I mean, all kinds of, and needs. And, oftentimes I also we see talent, the other thing that we see, and we haven't found the solution for this, but we see talent among, could be among internal candidates who aspire for the role or a, leadership role, but, they were told this isn't the right experience, or, heaven forbid, somebody said you're not ready. Whenever somebody says that, I'm always like, well, what is that? What is ready?
I know. That's a really tough situation to put someone in and expect that person to want to stay in the organization. Once the leader gets his wings, they usually then fly off, and you lose good people behind how something was handled in the interim process, right? That's where team coaching can really be the benefit, not just individual coaching, but team coaching, really to acclimate different, energies, different characteristics. And so it's really just trying to find the right fit and make sure people feel like they're necessary to be there. And so
valued and seen.
Absolutely.
That's right. Well, it's been great talking with both of you today. Thank you for joining me on C-Suite Elevated. And we look forward to another conversation soon, especially when you launch that peer advisory. We'll come back.
You'll be the first to know.
Yeah.
Great. You heard it here, folks. You heard it here first, folks. We'll be the first to know.
Exactly. Thank you, Christy.
Thank you.
Christy.
Vicki, Bowen, Hewes, Joi, Gordon Hewes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Christy.
Thank you.